All right, where were we? We drew our largest Cathara grid. Like I said, we're on a 18 by 24 sheet of Bristol board. And next we're going to see how these nest together. We're going to be, uh-oh. Oh no, don't do that. Shh. And we need to turn that down. Nate, is there an echo? Can you hear me? Hi. I'm trying to figure out this audio. Oh, good. Okay. Hooray. All right, then I'll just keep going. It keeps coming through. I'll just keep this turned down low, I guess. I'm hearing myself coming back through the Zoom recording. Okay, I have to keep my volume down. So if anybody is in the Zoom meeting and talking, I'm not going to be able to hear you. You have to message me in the chat. Okay, cool. There's nobody in there, so it doesn't matter at the moment. Where were we? I was figuring out the size. Figuring out the size of the inner circle of the next size of Cathara grid. So we drew our vertical. This is going to be our staff or our vertical line for these. There's going to be 4 smaller grids that go here. This is the length of the staff or the vertical, which is this one on this big grid. And then this would be like the rod, it's called, or the horizontal line of this next smaller grid. So we found these, marked these quarter of the way lines of the largest square. Where's my ruler? Okay, we're drawing in. We're basically cutting, so we have our largest square, which is already divided into quarters. Now we're dividing each of these 4 smaller squares, each of those into quarters. Let's see, and we are going to, that is going to be here, and then we're going to connect first. I'm going to do this in ink. I'm just going to draw it in one time first in pencil to make sure everything is lined up correctly. Yeah, it looks like it. So this is another one of those checkpoints. If this intersection point here should line up on this line that connects from this quarter length, quarter of this over to this quarter length hatch mark. Should go through this point. You know you're doing good. Okay. I'm going to draw this line to there. We're going to draw this line to there. And this point here should be in line with this line that connects these 2 quarter marks. Okay. Next, we're going to do the same thing. Here's this quarter going down to that point. That all lines up. Oh, let me switch over to my other pen. I'll do this in black so it'll be a better. And actually, okay, yeah, let's do these. These have built-in checks. These are right. Okay. Now we're going from here to here, from here to here. Next, we're going to this quarter. And okay, so this is why I like these clear rulers. It makes it easy to keep your lines, your parallel lines, parallel from each other, because it is easy to start getting off by a few degrees. And when you're trying to draw something this precise, that can really mess things up down the road. So I can, right now I have this guideline drawn in that puts 45, the 45s into this large square. And so I can use this ruler that has all these lines on it. When I line up this edge with my quarter hash marks, quarter size large square hash marks, I can sort of see through it and make sure that I'm lining this up and it is going to be running exactly parallel to this larger guideline that I have here. Okay. We want that. Okay. Go from there to there, here to there. Okay. Next, we're going to do the same thing in the other direction. Let's see. This one to this one. Is that right? I haven't drawn this in a while. All right. Now we're going to go from here to here and here to here. Oh boy. And then this one, same thing. Still using this guy as my guide. I forgot to double check it here, but that looks pretty good. Okay. Now from this one to this one. Square root of 2. Yes. Root 2. Oops. There. And check, see, oh, see, that's a little bit off of parallel. So you want to go just here like that. Does that look better? Better. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do the outer or the others. So I don't know if you can see this yet. We're making these in next inner square. So this is our outer grid. All of these next size of Cathara grids are going to be rotated 45 degrees from this axis. Yes. And what we're doing right now is making the inner squares of these 4 Cathara grids. And they hit at the 1/4 length of this larger square, the corners of this, because these inner squares are rotated 90 degrees from this inner square of the larger grid. 90 degrees? 45 degrees. 45 degrees. You know what I'm saying. Okay. Let's do, so we have our, you probably can't see this. I still have this pencil line in for this diagonal. This is what I'm checking that I'm staying parallel to. Right there. You also can check it now that you've got these lines of the next smaller size square. With this kind of ruler, I can see that I'm perpendicular to this shorter line also, because I can see through the ruler and it's got a grid on it, which is very handy when you are to have this precise geometry. Okay. Oh, I guess we could have drawn that whole thing. My bad. We're going to do it now. Let's see, am I still parallel, perpendicular? Ooh, I love it when that happens. Okay. A little bit closer. It's a beautiful thing. Now, can you see the shape of these inner grids, inner cathar grids? This would be the top point. Yes, one of the tips. Here's its little triangle. It's a vertical line. Here's its bottom triangle and the square on the inside. So now we're going to add the lines that connect the signets into the smaller squares. So we need the vertical and horizontal put in ink anyway. I have them here in pencil, but now I'm gonna go over them. I need a longer ruler, I know, and a longer T-square. Mm -mm. It's very relaxing, yes. Now we're putting in the rods of these smaller grids. These would be their horizontal lines, which should be half the length of its vertical. Now I'm checking these are still running parallel or and perpendicular to each other. Yeah, with my handy clear ruler. And when we put in the diagonals into the rectangles, we'll know how well we're doing, staying with precise geometry. It's all full of self-checks. You just got to remember, check them. Sometimes I forget. And then I get down the road and forgot to check that. And then something's off and I think. Okay. Last one of these. Then we can add in the diagonals. So just like on this larger grid, here's the large square. Yes, we bisected that with perpendicular lines. And then we created these inner rectangles that have a full side length and then one, and then this, it's a half a side length. Yes, this rectangle here, we are connecting these corners, this line and this line, but we're doing it here in this rectangle. This is where we find out. So I'm going to do it in pencil first. This is where we find out how we're doing. So this X we're about to make inside of this rectangle, you know you're still on track if these lines intersect each other on this line, on what would be the vertical line of this Cathara grid. So for at least the first one, because you can it gets a little wonky, like where exactly is the corner of this? Just put your pencil. I'm going to put it in first in pencil, and then once I have one, you can start using that trick with the ruler to make sure that they're running parallel to each other. If you've got the one that's correct, you can kind of go from there and to be up a little bit. Okay, there's the corner. There we go. Okay. So let's go where? Let's go to this one. Let me put those in. Which is that. So we've got these two lines now are intersecting. Looks pretty close to that vertical line. So we're doing good. Now I'm going to do the same thing in this rectangle. I'm going to keep my clear ruler here over top of these diagonals I just did to do these, because then I know I'm staying parallel, at least relatively, to each other. right? Yes. Same thing for this one. Parallel. It also starts to get a little hard to tell where's your center points here where we've got a lot of lines intersecting. What I'll do sometimes is use my compass and actually put a little tiny hole into the page there so that I can keep track of that, especially my center point. I do that for my center point so I can find it again. It's an important point. We are a little off here. It's bettering. Better. Okay. Now we need the diagonals that are here. We need for this point, which would be the 11 and 2 signet points on this star grid. So how do we make those? I do it like this. First, I'm going to put my I'm going to put a little divot in the paper there. Put my compass down to the size. There we go. So this is the size of circle that would go right here. It intersects with this point. Yeah, following that? So, and then we're just going to walk it up a quarter. So now I'm talking about this square. I'm going to refer to halves and quarters of squares. So now we're doing this Cathar grid. It's inner square. This length, yes, we're just going to go a half step up, or however you want to phrase that. We're going to move up to here. Now that we have this measure, we're going to take this up to this intersection point, put a little mark right here. That's our diagonal intersection point for this one, and do the same thing down below. But if your intersection points are off, then this is going to be off. So we're double checking things like this with our ruler. And there was one other way. Oh, the other way, if you don't want to base off these points, if you can tell they're not exactly right, and you can do what we did at the beginning here to make this outer square, you can actually put in the guidelines that would complete this rectangle, basically, yeah, complete this rectangle or complete this square by taking, so here's the sphere that would be there. Go up here to this point, yes, put in the sphere. That would be there. Find the corners, which you do like this. Put your point here, tick mark there, tick mark here. Now you've got your corner point for this rectangle. You can make that rectangle and then connect the diagonals just like we did in these rectangles. So that's the second way to do it. If you're not confident in your intersection points, you don't want to keep, what's the word? Multiplying something that's off. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. But once we have this point, which would be equal to 1/4 of the length of one side of this square, we're going to put those diagonals in. There. That looks pretty good. Okay. One, two. These guys. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Fuck. I got ink all over my hands. Oh, sorry, I said that word. I have to go wash my hands real quick. I'm getting ink smudges. Okay. Now my hands are wet. Let them dry a moment. Hmm? That's why I keep getting ink on my hands. I'm in the habit of wiping my ruler. Usually I have a cloth. That's what I should be doing. Then these, so the opposite ones, these should have run parallel to each other. So usually try to just like keep that as my reference. Eyeball it. That looks good. too far away. Oop. Mhm. These guys. Oh. Mm. Mm. Up there. Oh, we did that. All right, now this way. We'll keep going with these guys. Mm. Oh, we need to do our 11s and 2s. Mm. Okay, now we've got our little next checker here. If I find my little tiny point, center point, these 11s and 2s, the Cathara centers should all fall on this circle, which they do. Yes. I did the little hash marks, yeah? And they're all hitting an equidistance away from the center point, which is what we want. So that's another little internal reference checkpoint you can use to check yourself. Okay. We can put in those lines. Keeping parallel with our other ones. Yes, it starts to get a little fun to look at, huh? All these lines radiating. You'll see these 11s and 2s start to make this pattern emerge that later we're going to see is what makes the Christ star. Christ star crystal capsule. Yeah. Okay. It's very fun to look at these geometries and see new things emerge from them all the time, new shapes. When you look at one line and not the other, see all this internal geometry that forms is amazing. You see the Christ star you can shape in there? You'll see even more when we put in, so our every large Cathar grid has a tiny one at its center. That is 1/4. Is it 1/4? I don't want to say that and be. Is it a half? I forget. I have to look at my reference. When I draw it, I'll tell you. So the inner square of this grid is going to hit on these on these 11 and 2 points right here. And it's going to sit, this tiny grid at the center, that's going to be our inner square, if we put a square right there. And then it's going to sit 90 degrees rotated from this large exterior grid. And that is a pattern that always gets also repeated. So this we're drawing right now, it's called the Eckasha-A level. So we're going to now do what we just did again, but on this size grid, we're going to put 4 more Cathar grids in each one of these grids. And that's the Eckasha-A level. So right now we're looking at, before these, then the next level of grids, this would be what would we call the Eckasha. And then this size grid that here, the inner square hits these 4 points. These are the 4 corners of the inner square of what's called the Eka, is the counterpart to this Eckasha large grid, sits at 90 degrees rotated to each other, but 45 degrees from these would be called our Vekas. Yeah. And we would have, this would be an Eka-Veka. These would be Eka-Veka quadrants, and we would have our system going this way and our parallel this way, and our primal sound and light fields coming off this way. These sit at 90 degrees relative to their density level grids. And then this would be our parallels, primal sound and light fields up here. And the Eka sits on the 45-degree axis relative to these grids. All right. So that would be the Eckasha level that I just described. Now we're going up one level and we're taking 4 Eckashas, 4 of these, into this configuration. So we're going to fill in, we got to fill in all these little guys and their little Ekas that go in here. And we're going to see that these Ekas are going to sit on this axis that makes this diamond square. The axis of the Ekas that sit here make this square. Yeah. It's very beautiful. Okay. Do I want to take a little break? Let's keep going. We've got a smaller pen size, down a size. Okay. And we're going to look in here. Okay. And we're going to need our 45-degree X. So I'm going to go back to pencil and put in a couple guidelines here. And so if we're looking now at, this is our main square. This is our main inner square of this Cathar grid. The 45-degree lines relative to this square are going to be our horizontal and vertical of the larger one. So we can use this vertical line here as our guide to make sure we're staying, relatively related to each other in the right way. So this 45-degree angle line that runs through the center point of this square should run parallel to the vertical line of the large grid. Okay. I think let's just do this. No, I don't want to do that. Not yet. Okay. Okay, we already have the line that's going this way from the last grids, so I can see that already. So now we're going to put 4 more Cathar grids into these 4 smaller squares. So next we're going to find our 1/4 of the square marks by doing this. First we put the X into this larger square, and then we're going to do it again in the smaller squares to find the center of these. There. And again, this line is now running parallel to the horizontals of the large grid. There. This one needs to go this way. There. Okay. Now we can connect the center points of these X's to find where we have this line, the 4 sides of this square. We have it cut in half. Now we're cutting it into quarters each side. Good. Mark there, mark here. That's right there, there. Oh, and these we can take down. Can we do this? I'm using this to mark my lines down here too, on this other grid while I'm doing this, so we don't have to do the whole process over again. Because it's looking to me like it's all lining up correctly, so I feel pretty comfortable doing that. Two. Here, here, here. Okay. Then what? This way. Oh, we do have these guys. These 11 and 2 lines also give us that. So we could line up with that to make sure. All right, let's work up here. So now these quarter marks here, these are going to be the 4 corners of our next size square. So you want to go in here. This is the center point. Cathar grids are on this way, so now we're putting this square in. Okay. Oh, I didn't mark that. I need this line too. Let's see. This one, let's try this. I think that's correct. Yeah, I do some time-lapse videos. I started doing this on a time lapse, but then I decided to do this instead because this I don't usually do. But I do make. Hello, is that Elizabeth? Nice to see you. Yeah, so probably I figured it's easier to go from having a regular video to a time lapse than the other way around. All right, we got to make the next squares. They're going this way. Make sure these are all the same. They look all the same. I feel like something is off here. Can't. All right, let's go over to the square for a minute. I can figure this out. Let's put, what do we have already? That one, let's do this. I feel like something's off with my little hash marks, not with the stuff that's in black. Oh, okay. Let's do that. Let's do this. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, we could do like this. Yeah, okay. Then this one. Let's connect those and this one. We could do this whole thing. Should fall on the same line. Yes, yes, okay. Good. Good job, Erin. Thank you, Erin. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Then we're doing this. No, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, we did that already. Oh, we did it. Good job. And then let's do this. these. Where am I? Okay. It's too fat. Stupid fat hobbits. There. Okay. Oh my God. Wait. Where am I? My eyes are going crossed. Okay, there we go. This one, this one, this. And then these guys. Right. Here and here. We're almost done with our guidelines. Then we can draw. With our pen again. Here and here. Okay. No. Wait a minute. What did I do? Oh, I see. Yeah, we're good. We just need now to do these. Mm. These already. These. Mhm. Oh, where do I get this ruler? I go to a store that's local called Blick Art Supplies. But I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. It's West. Is that backwards? Westcott. Westcott. Transparent ruler. All right, this is the last one. Last of our guidelines, and we can start the small cathar grids. They're so cute. All right, going down a pen size. I gotta, I gotta keep checking myself doing these because I start to get cross-eyed. Let's go here. So where are we? I'm gonna go here to there. Pretty good. Hopefully we can do, there's some of these lines we'll be able to uh, do more than one quadrant at a time because they line up. Okay. We're parallel and perpendicular. And then here we're doing this, right? We're doing that line and this line. Then we're gonna do this line. Mm-hmm. Where am I? Okay, there, there, there. Yes. Okay. And this line and this. Yeah. Actually, I think we might have been able to extend that one up further, right? Because that's the other side of the square. Yeah. It's the side of the other Cathar grid. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back. Yeah. So we're actually doing this whole line here, here, and here. Then let's just keep going on that plane. Up and down. You're welcome. Now from here to here, here to here, here to here. Same thing up here, here to here, to here, to here. Okay, next. Looks pretty good. Okay, to there. And here to there. Now we'll do these. Okay, now we're going here to here, and also here to here. Okay, then this side of these squares. Where am I? Okay, here. This one lines up with that one, lines up with that one. Right. Here to there, here to there, here to there. 1, 2, 3. Ah, that happens. Skip that segment, then we're going to drop down here and go boom, boom, boom. This point, this to this, should all line up. Okay, so now we've got that square complete. Skip, no, we do this segment. That square almost complete. And then this square, this square is now complete. And then keeping our ruler here, we don't have to find it again. Where's this go to? I just lost my, there. Okay. Here to there, to there, to there. Okay. And then this point there. Checking where parallel, perpendicular. Okay. And now we've got this side and this side. All right. So now we have our 4 squares for these Cathara grids finished, and half, some of the sides of these and these. So now we're going to finish these squares. Let's do these next. There connects to, okay, let me find my, oh, here we go, right here. there to there. Here's my outer edge. Okay. So there to there. And then here to here is one side, two sides, three sides. Stay parallel to that one. Do these outer sides. Oh, good. Yeah, this stuff's easy to find on Amazon. It's nothing obscure or special. But I really do like these clear rulers for doing this stuff. Okay. And then this guy. Right there looks pretty good. Okay. One side, two sides, three sides. One, okay, one, two, three. Yes. And this one. Now we've got our four squares here and half the lines and half the lines. So now we should be able to finish these two together. Something should be better. Looks pretty good. Okay. Isn't that the worst when you go too far with your ink pen? Make the line that. There's no going back. Measure twice, cut once. I mean, that always says. Okay. Well, this will complete our inner squares of the next size down Cathar grids. Still lined up there and there. There and there and there and there. Okay. One line there. One line. Cool. We need our verticals, our rods and staffs. Staffs? Should the plural of staff be like shelves, shelves, staves? I don't think that it is. But perhaps it should be. Okay. Now, geez, let's see, how can I point this out? All right, so we see the largest outer Cathar grid, yeah. Now we have, let's call these level 2. The next size Cathar grids run here. Now we're looking at this square inside of this Cathar grid. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 smaller Cathar grids inside of this one. And what we want to do is draw in the line that goes here. What we wanted to create is, remember on this biggest one, when we made the square and then we divided it in half to make this rectangle, that's 2 by 1. And then we make the diagonals of the Cathar grid by connecting the corners of that rectangle. So now what we're doing is we're looking at this size square instead of this size square. And we're getting these tiny rectangles that are going to be right here. Now we're going to erase these outer lines so we don't get confused. And then we're going to draw the diagonals of the Cathar grid. Okay, so what I'm talking about is, let's look at this square here. We're going to put in, I have it in pen, we put it in pencil before as a guideline. You probably can't see it on the video, but I'm just going to ink it in, and then we're going to be able to see our rectangle and connect the corners. Okay. So there's one, and I'm going to do this one again. I'm going to do this one also because they should be on the same line. Okay. So now we have this square and the inner rectangle, and then we're going to do the diagonals of that. So here, I'm just going to do down here first. Let me take a look and see. I think these end up, do these end up being parallel to something? Um, I don't know, but that line looks a little bit off. I think it was too far out. All right, let me do this for now while I figure out. Is that the same place I thought was off before? Figure this out. Okay, let's put this in. And one, two. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. When you start to fill this in, you'll see that this square, the diagonals that fit into this rectangle are going to be the same diagonals that fit into this rectangle way over here. So this is what I'm talking about. We got to pay attention to what lines are parallel with each other and even on this fall on the same line. So this diagonal is going to go through this rectangle and this rectangle, the same line. Is that right? I think it is. Let's do it. That one and that one. Okay, then let's stay parallel to those. Drop down to the rectangles just below them. Right there. This rectangle and this one. Two. Two. And what do we have? Oh, there's lots of these that fall on the same plane. I forgot about that. Okay. So we're gonna, looks like we're gonna have lots of those things that line up. So that's nice. It's gonna take a little while. I think I need to take a break. What time is it? Oh yeah, we've been going almost 2 hours. Okay. When I am back, which I don't know if will be today or tomorrow, we're going to keep working on filling in these little diagonals. The inner cathar, and then we're going to add in some signet centers, some density locks, the other anatomy that belongs in a cathar grid, and the inner, we're going to do the center. We're going to put in the, would be the Eka. I'm not sure. There's a couple different, there's lots of stuff that happens at the center. So which level of the geometry you want to put in can be up to you. I'm still deciding. Let's see, I've drawn this level at least once before, and I decided to show the first 8 cell structure here at the center and how it relates into this geometry. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, thanks for joining me. Plural of staff like a walking stick or pole is staves. Staves? Staves? Is it a long A or short A? Is it really? I did not know that. So it's not staffs. Okay, good. Thank you.